Welcome. What day is it today, everybody? Monday, I guess. Day 2 of the 43rd World Bridge Championships from Lyon. And who do we have playing today? Who's on today, Fred? Who's at bat?
Looks like we're starting by following USA 1 versus Sweden in the Bermuda Bowl.
Right, great choice. USA 1, currently lying second. Just a whisker behind France, the host country, and Sweden in 6th place. They're about 8 VP behind USA 1, but both handily placed after 5 rounds. Okay, who can we see on the screen? We can see, well, I can see, if I get my telescope out, I can see Weinstein and Levin.
It looks like they're playing Upmark and Nystrom.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah. So, what's happening on this? This is board number 17, I guess. Yeah, in the other room it's a lesser-known pair, Eric Rodwell and Jeff Mextroth, against Frederick Rang and Johan Sylvan. So, old-time partner of P.O. Sunderland, who is the reviewer at these championships. Okay, board number 17. What's happening?
Can I make a question to Fred and Mark?
Yeah, sure. Fire away.
Some people write us how do you think to develop BBO in the past?
Okay. Well, I think it's sort of an interesting story. My wife, Sherry Weinstock, and I started working on bridge software a long time ago. In fact, in the early 1990s, before there was Windows, before people had email, and we worked on primarily educational software. And it was a struggle at first, but as more and more people got computers, our business started to do quite well. And about 10 years later, I sort of looked around and we saw that, the internet was becoming a big part of people's lives, but I was disappointed that there weren't any bridge sites out there that were either free sites of low quality or high quality sites where you had to pay. And we thought that it was important for the future of the game that somebody made a high quality free site. And, we sort of took it upon ourselves just as an experiment. Let's see if we can figure out how to do that. So when we started, we never really foresaw, the kind of monster that we would create, let alone becoming a successful business. We didn't plan to be a business at all. So really it was just a labor of love, and as more and more people came, eventually we thought, maybe we can actually turn this into a way to make a better living for ourselves. We began to hire employees, and we got a third partner, Uday Ivatori, who now runs the company, and things have just picked up from there. And over the years we've had great support from expert players all over the world, from the various bridge federations, and I'm sure that's been an important part of our success. So thank you everyone who's supported our site over the years. We appreciate it.
Yeah, my guess is the initials BBO are probably the best known in the bridge world, don't you think?
Well, off the top of my head, I can't think of any more. I mean, there's my EOK, but I'm sort of a little bit biased.
Yes, okay.
Mr. Kokish was my mentor.
Yeah, right. I mean, it is the most fantastic thing. I mean, and it's an absolute boon, not just to bridge players around the world, but bridge writers who constantly turn to BBO. And I recently discovered that I could go back in time and discover sort of records from matches and tournaments that I thought were long since extinct, like dinosaurs. I've been retrieving deals that have been logged safely away in the BBO store, so it's absolutely incredible stuff.
I actually did a little bit of that myself recently. I'm the coach of the USA 2 team in the Venice Cup, and one of the things I did to prepare is I looked at the various opponents we played and watched a lot of the hands that they played on BBO, in particular to try to learn about their carding, when they card honestly, when they give count, when they give attitude, and you can really, learn a lot. There's a lot of data there.
Yeah, you can. I've thought this for a long time, that really serious, conscientious coaches will take some time to check out the opposition, because not only can you do stuff about that, you can see what their style is when they make preemptive
Absolutely,
bids,
yeah.
and that can be very useful information for your team. You're not going into a match blind
Right.
in that situation. So bridge is becoming more and more like the other mainstream sports. If you play cricket, baseball, you know what kind of pitch you're going to get in baseball, where the guy's going to throw it to you, whether he's going to throw you a curveball or a fastball and stuff like this. In cricket, whether he's going to pitch it up or pitch it short, or it's just so fantastic to utilize all the available data. So I just think it's unbelievable, right? Just incredible.
Well, thank you, Mark. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's great.
Okay, this is all for the moment. Keep with us, and we return soon.
Down one. Or maybe. It's possible to manage a club rough even after ace of spades.
It looks like nobody in the Venice Cup has stopped as low as in the Bermuda. 3 spades. Yeah.
Times are changing, and now maybe in Venice Cup players are more offensive than in more aggressive than in Bermuda Bowl.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But it peak.
And although everything goes down, nobody doubled.
Blank and Sylvan play one club is either weak balance or 17 plus Swedish standard, yes?
No.
No?
No. They play.
Natural system.
They play.
Let me check.
Should be. It should be here. They play a two-way club, but.
Well, yes. Either 11, 13 or 17 plus.
No.
No?
No, it's it could be 18, 19 no trump.
18, 19.
Or clubs. Or a weak no trump.
Yeah.
You found it. I thought I had it here.
I have it.
Yeah, okay. And
With the transfer responses.
Nyström play a strong club.
Introduced.
Transfer responses for Ramon Silva.
Nord-Sud ont 4 piques à jouer.
What happened in the close? I thought
Voilà,
that was
Both made both.
yeah,
9 tricks.
It's a new hand. Oh yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Voilà, cingle ton trèfle, il n'hésite pas à intervenir, à se manifester.
Make 4 spades, don't you?
South decided to overcall one diamond, being vulnerable against knot. Surely it's not everybody's decision.
No. Yeah. Oh,
But now they can beat the
and
game.
it's not a strong club. I thought they played a strong club. No, it's in the close room, yeah. Yes. No, it's Maxtroff. It's Maxtroff who
But Maxtroff is on north-south, and he didn't overcome. Here we have
That's right,
Weinstein Levin against
and I
Mark
thought Weinstein played strong club, but they don't.
No, Weinstein playing standard American. Sophisticated, but
yes.
American standard.
Yeah.
I told you. They have many agreements.
So
but
Diamond's 3 clubs.
Voilà, nous sommes à
He has
Cathy.
to raise that. Will he? I think so.
yeah.
Yes. Well done. Yes.
Yes, with spades to
You don't even need
contract. Or even if 3-1, the contract can be made.
Now I think it's an old trick, isn't it?
PO, now we'll be able to see if for space will be beat on more tables in Bermuda Bowl or in Venice Cup.
Slam. It's slam, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it slam with a trump lead? You win that by a diamond. Next one.
Diamonds are for free.
And
You will have entries with
well,
King of Hearts.
you establish a heart. And then have a club rough to enter, yeah. See if anyone has reached slam. No. Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, he was allowed to win the King of Diamonds. Right, okay. Yeah.
Trump 14-16, I think.
I think so.
1-0 Trump opening was 14 to 16 points.
You can see it better than I. Yeah.
Hi, welcome back everybody. Here we are again, and I'm going to pose a question to Fred. I'm sure you all know he is the man behind the brilliant BBO site. I mean, Fred, do you have any plans for any innovations in BBO that the listeners might be interested in?
Well, I mean, this may not qualify as an innovation, but we're actually in the middle of rewriting all of our software. The reason is that when you log into BBO now on your computer, you're using a technology called Flash, which is unfortunately going the way of the dinosaur. So we're using a newer technology, something called HTML5, which you may have heard of. And this hopefully will result in software that's more stable and slicker, easier to use. And, functionally, it's not going to be, to begin with, that much different. It's really a lot of work just to get it up to speed.
Right, okay. And that's quite interesting, because I do know something about Flash. I know, for example, that it didn't work on my old-fashioned HTC phone.
Well, and I'm sorry. I mean, Flash is running into problems on more and more devices, so this is really high priority for us.
Yeah, okay. So that should be really exciting once that is going. I mean, one of the great things about BBO for bridge journalists is the preservation of stuff, and the fact that if you're watching a bridge match, you can store the data instantaneously on your computer, so you can go back and look at a deal in more detail later on, because trying to analyze bridge deals when the players are playing quickly is sometimes tough. They're not all straightforward.
But I'll tell you, I mean, a couple of other priorities that are robot play is becoming more and more a big priority, right? So making the robots smarter is sort of a never-ending and constant battle for us. That's important. And just coming up with new bridge formats, ways to play. We have something now that seems to be really big. That it's a day-long tournament. You can play your 12 boards or 16 boards or whatever at any time during the day.
Ah, right, okay. So you don't have to play at a specific time.
And we frequently get over 10,000 people playing in these things. And the ACBL, at the last Summer Nationals in Toronto, actually did this format for a nationally...
yes, I remember reading about this. Yes, so you could play from anywhere in the world as long as you were an ACBL member.
That's right.
And you could log in at any time, and
And it was 4 days long.
Yeah.
And, I mean, as far as online bridge goes, this is sort of the most serious event that's ever happened.
Right.
So we were very excited, and over 2,500 people played in that, and it wasn't inexpensive. I think it was $40 or $50.
Right, yeah, and I mean, that way you don't have the cost of having to get to the venue, to pay for a hotel room, and
that's right.
You can play from the comfort of your own home.
I mean, I don't want to, come across as saying that, like, online bridge is, quote, better than live bridge.
No,
because I love live bridge. They both have their advantages.
Yes.
And, a lot of times it sort of depends on the person and what their circumstances are.
Right. Well, there are parallels here with the other sort of really big mind sport, chess, because chess is very big on the internet these days, and you can play chess games against opponents from all around the world just sitting in the comfort of your own home, which is extraordinary. When I used to play chess, I used to have to travel hundreds of miles to play a single game, and then sort of travel all the way back home again and spend a whole day doing this. Well, now you can just log in and
I'm not a chess player, Mark, but something that I've been wondering about online chess is, now that computer programs play such a strong game, isn't it really easy when you're playing an online game of chess just to ask a computer, what should I do? And
I fear there are people who do that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
but they're quite sophisticated at trying to catch people who do that sort of thing. But indeed, chess has actually started to embrace the computer technology, because when I started playing what was called correspondence chess, where you sent your moves by mail, they gradually started realizing, as the computers became stronger and stronger, that people would use them to help them. So you weren't really playing a real person, you were playing a real person plus a computer. But in fact now that's become legal, because both sides can do it. So if you want to use the computer, you can do. But very serious chess players will tell you that even though the computers are brilliant and much stronger than any human, they still don't have long-term calculative memory, so they can't always estimate a position correctly. But everybody who plays chess by post uses a computer now. But the big thing about chess is that some people have been very clever and used computers in live games to cheat, because there's a lot of money in chess. And so they are becoming more and more sophisticated.
Well, I guess that's one of the good things about bridge computers not being very smart yet. So.
Yeah, right. The danger for bridge, I think, if there is ever a danger of this sort is that what will happen is that somebody will get external help from a third party who is watching the bridge game online. And that's the thing we have to be vigilant about in the future, maybe, because after all, I'm sitting here, I can see all four hands. It's pretty easy in the modern age to think of a way to send a simple signal to somebody who I'm trying to help, and he will understand that that tells him something useful about the opponent's hands.
You know, some of the tournament organizers, the ACBL, WBF, have suggested that a way we might get around that is by delaying the VuGraph broadcast.
They do this with chess too, like they call it the 10-minute delay. So you're actually seeing the moves 10 minutes after they were actually made on the chessboard. You know, so
I'm not personally a big fan of that, and it might be because it's going to mean I'm going to have to do a lot of work, but I like to think it's because, I mean, myself, as a little bit of a sports fan, I like to watch the live action.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it is. I think a lot of people don't realize until they sit down and watch a really exciting VuGraph match just how extraordinary it is. You see these guys, you can see all four hands, right? And they can play it better than you can analyze it, you know, and you suddenly realize these guys really know something special about the game.
I mean, and the drama can be amazing with the, you know, going back and forth, who's going to win the match.
I know. I've just pretty much finished writing a book with Eric Kokish called Close Encounters, in which we describe some of the greatest bridge matches in history. By the way, you're in one or two of them. And I mean, some of them are quite extraordinary. You know, there's one very famous match where one team in US trials at one point led by more than 100 imps, which is an enormous amount, and then something like sort of 30 or 40 boards later, they were more than 50 imps behind, and then they recovered and came back to win almost on the very last board of the match. I mean, there are some extraordinary things that happen in bridge.
That sounds like a great idea for a book. I will definitely buy a copy.
Well, actually, I think we may give you a copy.
Even better.
So, but you know,
okay, Mark. Let's one question to Fred, and we need to make a cut.
Okay.
The next question, when we'll be back, is for many years you have the monopoly of the bridge broadcasting. Now you have competence. How do you feel? But don't answer now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Slam.
So two imps.
And the same lead.
No, not 12 tricks.
What? Yeah.
Yeah.
But how do they only make 10 on a hard lead? Who knows? Oh, diamond, double pass. No, two hands, two hearts. Yeah. Interesting, only one heart.
Yes.
Que répond-on?
Well, you bid only one.
Un cœur,
Yeah.
deux cœurs.
Two.
Donc un carreau contre. Nord avec ses 5 cœurs a dit 2 cœurs.
On both yeah, it was one heart or two. Here, after takeout double of south, North has beat 2 hearts, but it's surprising that in closed room he started from 1 heart, because North's hand looks like worse beat of 2 hearts.
And in the closed room, East reading 2 diamonds. Here, they had to win 3 diamonds.
But as usual, choice of Rodwell can be can be successful, because here I think the South will be they are in 3 hearts surely, and it will be probably 1 down.
Donc, Sud fait une proposition de manche en disant contre à 3 carreaux, et Nystrom va décliner. Donc il joue 3 cœurs au lieu de 2.
Surely can be made. 1, 2, 3. Maybe you cannot. Maybe you cannot.
No, you can discard a club for a spade, for established spade. After the diamond lead.
Yeah, well.
But East can unblock with it.
Yes.
It can be a battle for the 9th trick between defenders and declarer, I think.
Yeah. He needs to duck this.
Oh.
Strangely enough.
If he can go to the 8 of diamonds.
Declarer needs to duck that diamond, because now the 8 of diamonds is no more an entry. Would have been. So much for reversed count and attitude.
And 3 would be also encouraging.
Donc,
You can try to find.
le déclarant va jouer pique du mort pour essayer de rendre la main à Est, mais si on est vigilant, on va mettre le valet de pique.
Still, I don't think this works. East can unblock the Queen of Spades, and Declarer does not have enough entries to play twice up to Ace King.
Oh, but anyway, West can also overruff a certain amount of diamonds and play club immediately. So
That's right, yeah.
Declarer has no chances in practice.
I think if Declarer exits a diamond now, it would be difficult for East to know if West had a doubleton, because I think they play upside down count. You read what they do here?
Yeah, I'm
Oh, you have it there, right?
Partner's lead against suit preference. I don't think so. Two partners lead suit preference at 3-1.
Pick one.
Suit preference. Suit preference.
I see.
So 8 of diamond.
Yeah, but he played a spade ace and a small spade.
Standard count and standard count.
Yeah, but he played spade
Upside
ace.
down attitude only when discarding.
Okay. But he also played the wrong plays a spade.
Levin Weinstein plays standard count and standard attitude. Only when discarding they play upside down attitude. So here 8 of diamonds showed doublet on.
Yes, he preferred spades. It's probably more to say that I don't like clubs.
Let's see if it's possible to play in such a position with suit preference, not the normal count.
Yeah.
Basically. Levin is in hand, and yes. What button?
11.
Who is thinking?
Yes. Yeah.
Whatever he will do except cashing the jack of hearts.
Yeah, I suppose so. The guys told me about him that he will always take a very long time when he has nothing to think about. If it's a tricky thing, is that the 2 world clubs?
He played with this.
2 world clubs?
Yeah. So it will be 5 hymns to USA.
Yeah.
Hello to everybody. We'll start. Fred had us pending.
Hello again.
We're on there.
Yeah, we're live again. We're live again. So, yeah, Fred was going to answer this question about the competition, to BBO.
Well, the question you asked pertained to VuGraph. And it is true that there's at least 2 other companies, Our Game and Funbridge, that are now doing VuGraph as well. And how do I feel about that? Well, the first thing I should tell you is that we actually, BBO has a very close relationship with Our Game. And I think it's probably just a matter of time until we sort of all are using the same software together. And I mean, Our Game is very important, I believe, because right now China is doing better than any other country in the world as far as bridge is concerned. And I can tell you on BBO, the average age of players from China is just about 40, whereas the average age of players from everywhere else is well into the 60s.
Right.
And it's not easy for an American company, especially people like us who aren't really very good at business, to make our inroads into China. So I think partnering with Our Game was it's a very good thing, so I'm very happy about that. Funbridge, we're also trying to be friendly with, and we know people in the ownership of Funbridge. In general, I'm a believer in using VuGraph as a way to promote our game.
Right.
Okay, and it's not something that we make money from. In fact, we actually lose quite a bit of money every time there's a big tournament going on, because there's tens of thousands of people who are watching VuGraph instead of giving us money to play. So, but, at the end of the day, we're bridge players, the people that run BBO, and we want to do things that are good for bridge.
Yes.
And VuGraph is really just about the best thing that we can do. So, if more companies can help spread the word and get bridge out there, that's great.
Well, a couple of years ago, we took a conscious decision at Bridge Magazine that we would stop charging people to advertise in the magazine. So if people had a tournament to promote or anything to do with bridge at all, they could send us a free advertisement, because we wanted to encourage more people to play bridge. That has to be good for the game.
That's great that you're doing
and it's strange. There's another parallel here between bridge and chess, because there were lots and lots of people who were creating programs that played chess, and there are many sites that transmit chess games live from big tournaments. And these people all got together and said, look, this is ridiculous. We don't want to compete with each other. So they reached an agreement. So now they all use the same software, right? And they all transmit at the same time. You can choose which site you go to, because maybe you prefer commentator A to commentator B. But they're all using the same software and the same presentation. And there's no competition between these guys. They all get huge audience figures. So I think it's just fantastic, right? Our whole objective has to be to encourage more and more people to discover what an amazing game bridge is.
I couldn't agree with you more, Mark.
Yeah, it's just fantastic. I love it. And, I love seeing all these kids. We're about to start tomorrow the junior championships. And I think this is the first time we've ever actually tried to run the two tournaments together. We've had some previous experiments, but it is going to be so exciting to see hundreds of kids playing bridge alongside the established champions, because we're going to see the champions of the future for sure sitting down at these tables.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, it feels like it wasn't that long ago that I was a junior, but it was 1991 when I played in the World Junior Championship.
Wow, 1991.
But in the same tournament, there was Helgamo played in that, and Jeff Hampson and Brad Moss.
Right.
And I think maybe Versace as well.
Yeah.
Some people that went on to be some of the best players in the world.
It is extraordinary. They have to start somewhere. And it's a lot of fun actually trying to spot the next great player. I remember watching this guy called Dennis Bild play bridge when he was very small. And I thought, wow, this guy can play bridge. He was only about 14 or 15 years old. And he's not much older than that now.
Right. I just did the Nationals in Toronto where I just played against this little boy. Well, I shouldn't say boy. I mean, he couldn't have been any more than 12 years old.
Wow.
And we played a Swiss match against him. And the thing that impressed me was that turned out he was an opening lead 5 times in 7 matches, and he found 5 great opening leads. So
wow.
To me, that's like a sign of someone that's probably going to be really
right. Good. And I was in Copenhagen at the start of this year for their invitational tournament. I was doing a bulletin there and a few other bits and pieces. And 2 years before, this tiny little kid, I think he was 11 years old, his name was Christian Larman. He played with Berthaud in the Pro-Am tournament, and to the astonishment of everybody, they won. Wow, I mean, what publicity. We had TV cameras crawling over the place, and it was just extraordinary. Well, blow me down, they went and did it again this year. They played in the Pro-Am, and they won again.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And I mean, this little boy has already played in the World Junior Championships. If he doesn't turn out to be one of the strongest bridge players over the next 20 or 30 years, I would eat my hat if I had one,
Okay, you forgot Agustín Madala that won the South American Open Championship with 14 years.
Right, I didn't forget Agustín at all, because he was playing at the World Junior Championships in Mangaratiba in Brazil. Don't ask me to remember the year, but I remember this sort of knee-high to a grasshopper guy who everybody said, this boy is going to be a phenomenal player, and boy, were they right.
Yeah, I remember playing against him in the Cap Gemini tournament in the Netherlands, which was maybe the most difficult invitational pairs tournament that there's ever been.
Yeah, right.
And when he was, I mean, I don't know how young he was. He was, definitely a teenager.
He played with my stepson, Pablo Ravena. But he played in Paris in 2001, the Bermuda Bowl, with 15 years.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's extraordinary. I mean, but if you're good enough, it doesn't matter how old you are. And a great thing is for young players to come and play in a tournament like this, especially if you play in a Bermuda Bowl or a Venice Cup, right? The experience you get is fantastically beneficial to play against all the time against really strong opposition. You very quickly pick up that bridge is a tough game, and the experience you get will stand you in enormous stead over the years to come.
One thing that sort of surprised me is, I remember very clearly when I was in my early 20s and I was very serious about bridge, and at the time I was considered, one of the better young players in North America, and I thought, I want to be a great bridge player one day, but it's going to take me a long time, that I couldn't imagine being able to compete at the highest levels at that age. And nowadays, it's easy to imagine it.
Right.
And I think maybe what's changed, and I hope I don't sound too immodest about that, is BBO has made a difference.
Yes, an enormous difference, because, you can study so much and pick up so much. I mean, when I started playing, I asked people, what should I do to get better? And they said, well, you must play against tough opponents, and when you're not playing, you must go and watch somebody who's very good. Mm-hmm. Now, that was hard to do, because there weren't so many opportunities to go and watch top-class players in big events. But nowadays, I can switch on my computer, I can watch the best players in the world play hundreds of deals virtually every single day.
Right, and also just the amount that you're able to play. Like when I started playing, I would go to the club in the afternoon and play 24 boards, go to the club in the evening and play another 24 boards. But if you go online, you could play hundreds of boards.
Yeah, you can. And the other thing that you can do, which is tremendous if you're trying to form a partnership with someone, is you can, even if your partner lives hundreds of miles away or even in a different country, you can sit down together and you can practice bidding loads and loads of hands. Right. So you can develop your system and your understanding, and that's absolutely vital if you want to be a top-class pair. So yes, I think that's another thing that BBO has added to the game. It's made it a little easier for people to put together a partnership that will turn into a world-class one.
Okay, Mark. For the next century, I give you a question. How is the relation between BBO and Mr. Trajankiri? But don't answer now. Okay. We can be back soon.
That's a good question.
Actually, a club lead would make it impossible, I think. Right?
I don't think there's a chance.
Where do you get 9 tricks?
No club, no. You play hard and hard again. And
yeah, you get 2 hearts and 3 spades and 3 clubs.
And you can throw in east with 4 spade, I think. If you decide to play the ace of diamonds, is not well placed, which is ace queen of hearts will show here and jack of clubs. So
je ne vois pas de raison de jouer les piques avant d'affranchir les levées à cœur.
I think that after passive club lead, declarer has to play very well. Making his 9 trick for the king of diamonds after throwing east with the 4th round of spades.
Voilà, on le voit tenir son trèfle. Il pensait sans doute à rejouer carreau pour voir comment les carreaux étaient répartis.
Oops. Yeah. Suppose he should throw, or can throw a club or a heart. As long as it doesn't try to squeeze someone in spades and heart queen.
Donc le déclarant va savoir qu'il n'y a que 2 cartes à cœur derrière lui, donc ça peut être la dame ou un petit, mais bon, les probabilités c'est de jouer la dame dans la main qui est longue. Voilà, c'est fini. Bon, ben, beaucoup de piques dans un camp, beaucoup de cœurs dans l'autre. Un peu d'animation.
Schlam, schlam, schlam.
Donc 4 cœurs passe-passe, on est obligé de dire 4 piques avec ce jeu et singleton pique. Ah, contre, il préfère contre. Des fois...
So 7 hearts. That
6 clubs is interesting how to...
Yeah, but 7
how to
hearts
reach.
is a good save.
2, 3, 4,
Against
yes,
spades.
800. No, 1100.
Yeah.
I wonder how some pairs manage to play in clubs on East-West. It's a minor suit preference, I think.
This is the only table where people stop. Not quite, but
There are a few contracts of clubs,
Slam,
Netherlands, and one more. Yes.
4 hearts. 2 balls, 4 spades. I think 4 spades is a little, maybe.
No,
maybe.
Depends on the quality of the
Yeah,
double. If
yes.
the partner is only 4 spades,
That's true.
can
It's
be
true.
not.
It's true. He doesn't have much.
Yes. We can say that preempt makes its make its task on both tables.
Heart spade. Is South going to bid? Wait a minute. Sylvan opened this a diamond. Yeah.
Donc Ouest n'a pas ouvert en salle ouverte, donc ça va être un peu plus dur de trouver 300 atouts.
There's no way you can beat
No,
him.
now it's very difficult for East-West to beat the game, I think. Yeah. Once again, it's about 50 high card points.
I suggest you pass.
Particularly in view of the double of one spade, which shows also some.
Yeah.
Here the double of one spade shows some minor suits, so West is in difficult position. I can bet that he will pass. Pio, do you think so?
South has to make a decision first.
Oh, South passed.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, but I told about Levin.
Yeah.
I was watching on the video.
Do you make 2 hearts? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
3, 4.
You need to take a spade off.
Yeah. I don't know what declarer will play from the hand.
No,
Maybe.
it's interesting.
Yeah.
He plays diamond, 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 gets rid of his club.
So now they can manage. They can make 5 trump tricks.
Yeah. Yes. So you should win the ace and play a trump. Now it's more difficult.
Oh, King of Hearts, yes.
Well done. He's going to play a diamond back or a spade.
Yes, careful of 3 of spades.
Bon. Oz va sans doute rejouer la dame de trèfle pour pouvoir jouer as de trèfle et trèfle. Je sais pas à quoi il pense.
Yeah.
Mais bon, les carottes sont cuites. C'est fini.
Doesn't matter.
Well defended, but anyway, some imps for Sweden. Here we have a good example that bridge is a bigger game, because West did not open with 10 points, so he was rubbered from the game by the opening with 9.
Hello to everybody. We are here again with Fred. Fred, remember the question about the relation between Trajan Chira and BBO?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Trajan, first of all, I should say, he's a very good friend of mine. That I saw him yesterday, first time in a while, because we see each other at the World Championships, but we live very far away. He lives in Australia, and I live in Las Vegas, so it's not like we can see each other in person. But I know a very big hug with him, and we're very happy to see each other. He's someone who works for the WBF. He's not an employee of BridgeBase, but we've worked together on several projects, software projects. We're both programmers. So, he'll usually come to me and say, Fred, it would be very nice if you could make the VuGraph do this, and then I'll try to make it do this, and then he'll try to break it and tell me how I need to make it better. And so, we have a lot of back and forth, and we have a very good working relationship. He actually has a job outside of Bridge. I think if Trajan ever decided that he wanted to work for BridgeBase full-time, I suspect we'd be very happy to offer him a job, but I think he's happy where he is.
Yeah, I remember at Montecatini at the European Opens a few weeks ago, he was very worried because he realised he'd misbooked his flight home, and he told his employers he'd be back on Monday, and he then realised he was only going to be Tuesday before he got back, so he was a bit nervy, but I think it's all passed off peacefully.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, he really is he's a very special man, and
yeah.
I like him very much personally. He's an excellent programmer, and he loves Bridge. So
yeah, he does.
We could use about 20 people like him.
Yeah, he's got a good site, livebridge.net, where you can pick up all the information about who's going to be playing on VuGraph in tournaments all around the world, and there's masses of information. You can see the system cards usually. So it's great. He's actually staying in my hotel, and he's just about the only person who beats me to breakfast in the morning. So he works very hard.
He does work hard, yes.
Yeah.
And he's always smiling.
Yeah. So. Well, that's the secret, Yeah. They tell me if you smile a lot, you'll live a long life.
All right.
So I keep practicing.
Mark, can you tell to everybody how are doing the match in the Venice Cup, Bermuda Bowl, and Dorsey Senior Trophy?
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, let's start with the Bermuda Bowl because that's what I have on the screen in front of me. And it actually looks like it's a relatively low-scoring round. Most of the matches are quite low scoring. I mean, like Netherlands, the score is 6-1 after 5 boards. But if you look at the leaderboard, USA 1 have moved to the top, and they're about 1.5 VP clear of the Netherlands, and then the host France, and they're followed by Germany, USA 2, Sweden, Egypt, Italy, Australia. You could throw a handkerchief over most of those, and it's very hard to say who's actually going to qualify at the end. The real excitement comes... okay, very interesting. Right, we're getting sort of dual sound there for a moment. But what is very interesting, as you get towards the end of the round robin, you start to centre your interest on sort of 8th, 9th, 10th, that sort of thing, because only one of those teams is likely to scrape through into the 8th place, and that's when it gets very, very exciting. But there are some very good teams still here who are not yet in a qualifying position. Like, for example, Bulgaria, who've had a great record in recent years, they're only in 12th place. Monaco, yeah, I mean, incredibly strong team, one of the world's strongest pairs playing for them. But I've noticed, actually, they do tend to start slow, and it can be, because of the way a round robin unfolds, that you get a distortion because maybe your opposition is actually quite strong. So if I switch my screen over to the Venice Cup, right, to see what's happening there, okay, then maybe I can ask Fred to maybe amplify that by telling us something about the team that he's coaching here, USA 2.
Yeah, so I mean, if you look at the standings, USA 2 is in 17th out of 22nd place. They have about 49 victory points, and the key 8th place team has 64. So it's a pretty big gap. But I'm not panicking, and I'm hoping my team's not panicking, because every match we've played so far, including the match against England now, has been against one of the contending teams. So, when that happens, you certainly don't expect to win every match. And even if you lose most of your matches, as long as you're not losing by a lot, you're staying sort of within sight. So, I would like to be higher in the standings, but if at the end of the day we're no further from 8th than we are today, I will not be unhappy because things get easier for our team from here.
Right, and you can see the quality of USA 2 because they're playing the leaders, England at the moment, and the score is 10-13.
Right.
So and that's at halfway in the match. So I tend to agree with that because you can just have one good day here where you have perhaps have a day where you play 3 of the lesser teams and you just race up the table.
Yes. I sort of like to think that as long as you're somewhere close to being average with, say, 2 days left, you have a very good chance to qualify.
Yeah, absolutely.
You just have to play well at the end.
You don't need a massive score to qualify, and the real key thing is you don't need to win the round robin, right? You need to finish in the top 8. Yes. I can tell you a couple of things about that from my limited knowledge of chess, but Mikhail Botvinnik, who was a long-time world champion, the patriarch, somebody asked him once, they said, when you're playing a tournament, I mean, how often do you look at the scoreboard? And he said once. And they said, when's that? He said, when the tournament's finished.
Right.
Then I find out how I did. So he didn't put himself under any pressure in that way. And one of his compatriots, Petrosian, another world champion, right, he played in many, many candidates tournaments, and people asked him about the tournament that preceded it, the interzonal, and they said, where do you want to finish in the interzonal? He said, I don't care as long as I qualify. He said, because then I have a chance to win the next tournament and play the World Championship match. And it's very much the same here, because by the time you get to the last 8, it doesn't really matter who you play. All you've got to do is win 3 matches and you're world champions. Mm-hmm. So I don't think there's any cause for concern.
Remember the Dorsey Trophy, please.
I will remember the Dorsey Trophy. I'll just tell you very quickly that it's England, Netherlands, China and Indonesia at the top of the women's event. And now if this little cursor works, well, yippee, I get the Dorsey Trophy. I might have to press the refresh button. Okay, I can see it. Right, so here we've got USA 2 at the top of the standings, ahead of France. That's another French team doing well. Australia, they've got a very experienced senior team. Israel 2, then Italy. Right, of course, Italy's best senior is playing for their open team, right? So maybe he'll switch sides if Italy don't qualify.
He's actually a super senior.
Super senior, yeah. There isn't a super senior category yet, is there? I think it's extraordinary.
We're talking about Benito Garazzo, maybe the best bridge player of all time.
Yeah.
90 years old, I believe.
Yeah,
and
he
he's
is.
Playing in the on the Italian Open team.
He told me at the end of the first match in the Bermuda Bowl, he said, look, I played so badly in that match, I really want to go home now. I pointed out to him there were quite a lot more matches to play. and to add insult to injury, he got penalised for playing slowly. So he was, things are returning to normal today. But I think it's phenomenal. I mean, in Montecatini, the European Opens just played a few weeks earlier. He was playing fantastically well. Seniors, but it was the Open Championships, right? But he played fantastically well.
Well, I mean, we're fortunate that he's a regular on BBO. And he draws thousands of kibbutz. People just love him. Yeah. And I mean, he's still at 90 years old, just an unbelievably good card player.
Actually, that's one of the strange phenomenons about BBO. Okay, because I can sometimes work out who's playing just by looking at the numbers.
I see.
Okay, so the other day I switched on my screen. I went down a list of matches, and I saw that one table had 2,500 spectators, and they were playing board 1, so they hadn't even really got started. So I wonder if you can guess who was sitting at that table. That was in this tournament. Can you guess which pair was sitting at that table?
I would think maybe Maxstroth Rodwell against Helge Mohelm.
Yes, absolutely right. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. And the numbers got bigger and bigger and bigger. Right. Yeah, because it's one of those things. It's big names attract spectators. It's great for the game.
Like other sports.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Zia is always a very big draw.
He's a crowd puller. Yep.
People like to watch Zia.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and of course the thing is, these guys play at such a high level that it's a delight to watch them play. It's just fantastic because they're solid as rocks. Of course, like they're human, so they make mistakes. Bridge is a game of mistakes, but their general level of play is extraordinary.
I especially like the Helge Mohelm type pairs where their bidding methods are, no offense to them, relatively unsophisticated.
Yeah.
But they do so well, and it's just, to me, it's incredibly impressive.
Yeah, I think they're going to rename their system and call it the Prehistoric Club. I think, but it's basic. Bidding with a few frills, but they're very, very good card players.
And the judgment, of course.
Yeah, that's one of the things I think. There's not much written in bridge literature about judgment. It's something you develop down the years. It's almost like a sixth sense of when is it right to take a particular kind of action.
Right.
And that's not something you're born with, it's something you learn, I think. And that's why when you start off in bridge, if you can find somebody you get on with, even if they're not necessarily a fantastically strong player, you may develop a very good partnership because you learn together.
Yeah, and you learn to think the same way.
Yes.
You understand each other.
Yeah.
Okay, Mark, we need to make a cut. I let you a question of our follow. They want to know if you play on BBO. Time to time.
Okay.
See you later.
Thank you.
Apparently they don't play puppet. Vragan Sylvan.
Or maybe they play with 3 diamonds. I have 4 cards in the 3 hearts, 3 spades, 5 cards. 3 long trump shows no measure 4 cards.
Yeah.
5.
There are people who play that if they play puppet, they do 3 games to say I have a major and I think 3 hearts. I don't.
I don't use 3 spades. I have 5 cards.
Yes.
I play this.
Yeah, I think that's much wiser. Then you have a way to show your mind or something. Yeah. So you make 7, no, you don't make 6. You have to guess the spades if you get a spade lead.
From the last hand.
No, from either hand. Spade 2, ace, spade. May very well.
Yes, we can see that some declarers didn't get the spade after spade lead and spade return.
Mhm.
Bon, 5 carreaux sont meilleurs que 300 atouts.
Same bidding. Same bidding.
Until now.
Now let's see spade 2 to the king and spade back.
Donc Ouest réfléchit parce qu'il y a beaucoup de mains qui donnent le chelem. Roi de trèfle, dame de cœur. Enfin beaucoup. Voilà.
Yeah. Swedish pair leads certain low in partner suits against no trump. So two will be no information if the lead is from spots or under the honor.
No, can easily be queen third.
Donc il va faire le coup du roi de pique et rejouer qui pique.
I think king is best. Yes.
Oh, 6 clubs.
Yeah. No.
5. 5, yeah.
Diamonds. Yeah. 5 diamonds, yes. That's a pretty good contract.
I think that if there are some Swedish supporters on the audience, they can need some medical assistance after this error of VuGraph operator.
Well, Stevie, 9, I think, is more likely. No, he did well done.
Very well
That's
done.
well done.
La raison qu'on peut invoquer, c'est que Sud n'a pas dit 2 piques, ce qu'il n'aurait pas manqué de faire avec un honneur troisième.
I think that his poker experience helped him to make this guess correctly.
I think you can discard a club now. And take your 9 to push the board, right?
Bon.
Yes. As you can see, practically everybody in the Bermuda Bowl has gone down on that lead against 3-0 trumps. Spain 10 lead. I wonder how you make 10 tricks.
Exactly, yes. But it's the scores.
Yeah. There's 140 apparently. Yeah.
Declarer will probably lose one trick in each suit, making 9.
Ace. It's so annoying that you make 9 tricks in no trump. This gives out the queen of hearts. You go down in one no trump.
Yeah.
2 spins still laid out. It's very unfair. I mean, I had such a balanced hand. Why should I be? Oh, East open and no trump. Okay. Interesting. Play weak, no trump, of course. Yeah. Oh, here's West, yeah. Yes. And now?
Il y a 2 pics en est-ouest et 4 trèfles en nord.
Three spades. It
North has some
make.
clues that South has similar, but he will probably pass, I think.
Oh yeah.
North with 3 cards in spades could be sure that South has a shortness, so he didn't pass 3 spades. We'll see. 4 clubs is optimum contract for North-South.
Yeah.
Better would be 3 spades doubled, of course, but it's not so easy.
Beau réveil à 300 atouts.
In view of pass after 2 no trumps, it's obvious that it's takeout for minors.
Well done.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other one is difficult, easier for North.
Easier, but maybe he wanted 5.
Thing is, what was 2 clubs would have been non-forcing, I think.
No, but he has 4 hearts.
Yeah, but I mean, isn't
Diamond
isn't
was
three isn't 3 clubs forcing?
Double.
So-
Strong hand.
Yeah. Right. Let's see. We have 1. Guadeloupe also got there.
Well, we are be here now. Remember the question of our follower. You play online time to time or not?
I actually play online every day. what I do is my wife and I log in, Sherry Weinstock, who's on the USA2 team in the Venice Cup. We play against 2 robots, and we play the hands from a big tournament, the Bermuda Bowl,
wow, great.
or the Spin Gold, or something like that. And it's a fantastic way to practice. Not everyone knows you can do this on BBO, but it's great. And we enjoy it, and it's been really good for both of our bridge games. I should say we log in as invisible because unfortunately, I think I've become a little bit of a famous person, which doesn't make me very happy. So when I log in, if I'm not invisible, about 500 people will say hello to me, and I don't like to be rude, so I say hello back to all of them.
Yes, that's 500 mouse
and
clicks.
then I can't play bridge.
Right.
So
I know that's fascinating. Actually, people will know about that because I'll write about it in the bulletin. Okay, I'll put it in the championship diary. I didn't actually realize you could do that myself.
Okay, one question of mine.
Okay.
How do you find this broadcasting?
Even without the question, I wanted an opportunity to say this. This is absolutely fantastic. And I don't know who deserves credit, all of it. You certainly deserve some, Fernando, so thank you.
Mario Chavarria and the support of Enrico Rona, WBA.
The WBF, I'm sure it could not happen without Mr. Rona. So,
of course, the helmet of Mark is
my friend Mark. Yeah, he's been a pleasure to talk
I
to.
could do this every day with you, Fred. This has been an absolute pleasure.
No, but this is great for our game, and so thank you for all the hard work and for the WBF. I'm sure it's not inexpensive to do this. This is great. I hope to see more of it.
And I think Fred has a pressing appointment now because the matches are drawing to a close, and he has duties as coach.
As coach and as husband.
Yeah, right. So,
I mean, if you'd like to see me later in the week, I'd be happy to come back.
I think you can. We can guarantee it, Fred.
We took your word.
Yeah.
Right,
okay. Good luck and
thank you for now.
Yeah, it's been great, Fred. Great.
Okay.
Fred need to go because he's a coach of USA2 and need to make the results.
Right.
See you later.
Okay. Thank you.
To 5 for Italy.
11 place.
Yes, every board. I don't know, where are they? Not in the first dozen. Yeah, but no, I was looking for...
Monaco is 16th.
Yeah.
I'm not sure Lauria and Versace will have helped them.
You don't think so?
I'm not sure.
Oh. Yeah, but if Alavena is not playing, that's going to improve the team. Okay, now we want some swing. We don't get one.
Till the end, only one ball. So I don't think anything.
Shall we tell the audience there is nothing interesting? Just go home.
It's a third match which I'm sitting here and hands are always boring. I have written to some correspondence to Poland on the website, and I have written that probably the duplicating team keeps the unbalanced hand for the playoffs. I think what I have said yesterday, the duplicated team probably saves the unbalanced hand for the playoffs.
For the juniors, maybe.
Or maybe for juniors, yes.
wonder, there is a table where you can see who you have played against, if some team has played all the good ones or not. English girls are not doing so well.
No, they are second.
Are they?
They're
English
second,
girls?
yes. Netherlands and England are on the top. Third, China, now
third.
China.
Yeah, third. I started looking from fourth and down. Oh, Polish girls are up there. So.
Poland is a very active.
Are they good?
Because
Favorite?
there is Fred Gitelman, which one is 25, one is 27. Banish and Jarosz, one is 25, second is 28. And Katie Bałdysz, his daughter, which is 20.
That's the team?
Yeah.
Ooh, great.
So average is about 29.
Yeah,
Maybe so.
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Did they play the girls in Chamonix?
No. Żmuda stopped to play in juniors.
Yeah.
She won mixed. And
Yeah.
Last year she won World Junior Championships in Open Juniors.
Yeah.
Donc sur cette donne, Est restons 3 sans atout, sauf si l'adversaire entame trèfle. Ce qui n'a pas été fait dans l'autre salle.
400, 400, 400.
It depends.
See, all 400, no 400.
Voilà.
One, two, four.
Donc sur cette séquence,
5 club leads, 5 club tricks.
Yeah, I think that if you know from the beginning that West had 4 cards in spades and East 4 cards in hearts, then it's possible to lead the king of clubs, even if partner did not double Stayman.
Yeah,
Because
I wouldn't.
here also the lead is probably 10 of
Oui.
9 of hearts maybe.
Yeah,
It's 9 of hearts.
yes. Oh, he asked 2 clubs, 2 hearts. You still need a heart.
No, but here the
sorry,
beating was
no.
1 diamond, 1 spade, 1 no trumps, 3 no trumps, so it's
The other one,
difficult to lead a club. But on the other table, lead of 2 of spades is slightly surprising.
Yeah. Yeah.
donc 300 atouts sont faisables en nord-sud. Ah. 4 carreaux, 4 trèfles un pique. Donc,
East played it.
Was played 2 no trumps.
Oh yeah. I'm happy. Happy.
Yes, there's one contract of 3 hearts doubled 6 down.
Was it girls or elderlies?
Girls, I see.
Okay.
We could see one contract of 3 diamonds doubled played by East in match of Egypt against Brazil. So I think that West, being not vulnerable against vulnerable, tried to beat unusual 2 no trumps after one spade opening.
3 hearts. Double. Yeah.
Yes, but the question is who doubled 3 diamonds?
Yeah.
In Venice Cup, there is a contract of 3 hearts doubled by East. Probably also there was 2 no trumps overcall and East decided to play in his own suit.
Yeah. Not the best.
Scoring error.
690 is fantastic. Well, I guess heart lead. What can you do?
Here is overcalled 2 hearts. But South had 2 clubs was a game forcing relay, I think, so it's East overcalled 2 hearts, but
Yeah. And South with 2 no trumps.
probably showing diamonds as a side suit or something.
You think so?
2 no trumps probably was some conventional showing spades and diamonds or spades and another suit.
Yeah. Probably diamonds.
Maybe some step beat, first step, second, and so on, I think. But I play relay system, but when they overcall after relay, the begin goes in the natural way.
May not be the best if you're going to end up in no trumps. Let's see where we think they end up. I hope they won't be in spades.
North has no reason to play 7 space 5-2.
No, we could have 6-6 perhaps. I don't know. Don't know their system. interesting, this music. I don't know.
North-South play a relay system, so I think, and the two no trumps and 3 hearts were artificial beats, probably showing 5 spades and 5 diamonds. It's my bet.
Oh, Monaco has recovered.
6.
Are you sure they know what they play in this? If 2 no trump is something and 3 clubs and 3 hearts?
I don't know, it's probably some steps.
Yeah. I think they might bypass now.
At last, North has decided that Jack 10 9 fifths is a good stopper in opponent's suit and beats 3 no trumps.
Yeah. How do you play with a heart lead? You win the king. You want to get into your hand to play more hearts.
Bon, l'entame dame de cœur va abréger le jeu.
Oh yeah, he beat 2. That's right. Yeah.
The lead is Queen of Hearts.
Yeah. I think he will not finesse clubs. Gonna play a club and run hearts forever. Get 4, 8, 9, 10 tricks.
Maybe Einstein is thinking if maybe they lead a king queen sec.
Yeah. He bid. I wonder if 7 is encouraging or discouraging.
It's your preference.
You think? Yeah. I think so too. And Jack of Hearts. I would play the Jack, wouldn't you?
He played 8.
Yeah, I saw that.
Depends if you play natural or force best.
Yes. Remaining count, 4th best.
Here we are.
Hello to everybody again. We have a wonderful time with Fred Gitelman. How is your opinion, Mark?
Well, it was fantastic to have Fred here. You know, I've known him a long time. He's a great friend of mine. He's been extraordinarily helpful to the bridge world in general, and certainly to me and Bridge Magazine in particular, by letting us use his fantastic software. And I'm going to be writing something special in the bulletin about some aspects of BBO that Fred told us about today that even I didn't know about. So something interesting to read in the bulletin in a couple of days' time.
So I guess you didn't miss me.
Oh, of course
We miss you a lot. A lot.
Yes, yeah, of course.
Unfortunately, we couldn't have you in any time here.
Right, so...
Okay, what happened in the Bermuda Bowl, Mark?
Okay, well, the matches are drawing to a close now, and France are on top of the table, just a little ahead of Germany, and then USA 2, Netherlands, USA 1, Sweden, and so on. And it's very, very close now. I mean, this will be the end of the second day. What I like especially is to see Italy with the legendary Benito Garozzo now moving up the table. They're in 9th place. What a story it will be if they qualify for the knockout stage. But there's a long way to go yet, and lots of exciting bridge to look forward to over the next few days.
Yeah, sure. What about the Women's Cup? Can we see it, Sandra, please? Thank you so much. So the Netherlands is back on the lead, and right after it comes China, and England is also in the race. In the back position, we can see that France, Israel, and Russia are fighting to be in the 8th positions. They're very close, even if Israel is 3 points ahead. So come on, girls, you can make it. We all trust in you. And what is the Syrians doing? What are the Syrians?
The Dorsey Trophy. Okay, let's see. Let's see if we can find out what's happening in the Dorsey Trophy. Right, here we go. Dorsey Trophy. USA 2 at the top there. France, Australia with a seasoned, experienced team. Same for Israel, Italy, Sweden. It's all the usual suspects, except for one, I notice. Poland. They have a fantastic record in the Dorsey Trophy, but they're struggling a little bit at the moment. So, but still a long way to go, and plenty of time for all these positions to change.
Yet it's the first time we see France in the 2nd position and not in 1st.
Yes, okay, but you know, it's a national holiday in France today, so maybe
they were
relaxing
striking.
a little bit. Yeah, maybe a little bit on
They were on
strike.
strike?
Yes, yeah, could be.
Carlota, tomorrow we have another guest.
Yeah, tomorrow morning we will have Aurélie Lorenzini, which is the wife of Cedric.
Wow,
and she
okay.
will tell us a little bit about what they're doing at nights, how are they training, and you know, a little bit of gossiping.
Interesting, yes.
Yeah, it's gonna be a girly morning with a little bit of gossip, also about bridge, so we're gonna have fun. And I have to say, Mark, that our viewers have to stay tuned tomorrow, because after the 3 usual matches, we will have the opening ceremony of the juniors. So
Oh yes, and I think that's going to be here in the VuGraph Theatre.
yeah, but we will be commentating, and we will say which teams are the strongest one and which will be the nationalities participating, because
Right.
you know that they can play, like, even if they're not of the same nationality,
Transnational,
they can play,
yes.
So it's gonna be cool, because you can see people playing from all over the country all together. So it's
Right,
gonna be
it's
really
going
cool.
to be a real festival of bridge.
I know, Carlota, that you are expert in the bridge junior. So tomorrow we can make a special broadcasting
Yeah.
with your comments.
Yeah, sure. I would be glad. They're all my good friends. So would be interesting to do it. And but we have to remember there are also the kids, those little, can I say puppies? Because they're
Yes,
puppies
you can. Yes, a
playing
great word.
bridge.
Yeah,
So it will be nice to see them around and to have them with us also.
yeah, just fantastic.
Yeah. So stay tuned, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Yep,
Bye
okay.
bye.
Bye for now.
Moment.